if you run into an issue with the light, typically if it's not operating correctly as far as powering on, powering off, or getting some finicky operation, or the positive side of the dimmer or buttons aren't working, that's all operated within the circuit board. So in order to replace that, we need to disconnect the ribbon cable on this side. If you have like a spoon tool, it's easier to grab, or if you have fingernails. So pull this out of its spot, disconnect this connector, and you're going to want to disconnect these two screws. Obviously, make sure your light is disconnected from power before doing this. Okay, after all that is out of the way, then you can disconnect the two screws that sandwich the actual switch housing together. Move one, two, and now this board will come up. You can see this board here, it's our main board. Here's our switch housing. So when you get your new board, you'll just take this switch housing, slide it in place, like so. You can also line it up this way. So we this, keep it pinched down, just keep it on the flat surface, it'll be fully pushed in. When you get your new housing, you're going to line these springs up with these holes. Make sure the ribbons are out of the way. And then when you got those lined up, you can need yourself some light, and you're going to slide this until you see those two screw holes line up. And you're going to push it down level, try to make sure it's not cocked either way, get it level. That's why we have these pads here to help hold it for you in place while you're assembling. And then put the screws back in. When you're doing this, be careful that you don't, when you're doing this, that you don't actually slip and scratch any of the traces. My housing slid out here, so let me just push that back in. I am not lined up with my screw. There it is. Okay, now I am lined up with my screw. So you can see how when I went to go put the screw in, it just fell down. It didn't grab anything. It just fell down. It's because I was misaligned with my screw. So once you got one started, don't fully tighten it. Go to the next one, because you may need to do a slight adjustment to make sure it's centered, which we're good here. So now that you got both in, you can go ahead and tighten both. Do not over tighten it. Just needs to be nice and snug. It's just sandwiching the switches into there. Now the ribbon cables, you're just going to plug back in. Could be a little tight, a little tricky. Get someone with small hands. Push that in. Push this in. And then you're just going to re-secure these screws. Now these ones you can torque down a little tighter than these guys, because we're going into metal, but still you don't have to get crazy with it. Just make sure it's nice and snug. At the end, as it starts to get tight, it does start to tension more than where these will stop and lock. You'll want to sandwich these more because it's pinching the wire connection down, making sure it's a nice and secure connection. We got those two in. And the last one here. One important thing is you don't want to push this too far. They should be pre-trimmed to where you will be just mainly hitting the connection. But if there is extra slack, like see, I could push this one further in, and if I pushed it too far like that, then this connecting block is going to pinch the insulator and not make contact, which then your light's not going to operate. You're going to have an issue and wonder what's going on. So make sure just the contact's there, the insulator stops, and then you tension it down there. And that's it. That should fix any issue you're having with the board by replacing the new main board and switches.